So welcome. This is Thunder from Holidium Labs, and I wanted everyone to get a chance, if you missed it last week, to get a copy of a very epic interview with Dr. J. 2.0 Tesla World Broadcast Network Lemon Challenge. Must listen. Enjoy. Hey, this is Thunder with HolidiumLabs.com. It's been a while since I've been doing some videos. I know I stopped doing Midnight Mechanics. Been focusing on a new transition, doing a lot more talk radio shows and getting more proactive in the communities. Something us genius antisocial types don't do very well. Anyways, a small farm kid from Iowa who was basically scared to death to get up on stage and say hi. Sat down and did a radio interview with Dr. J last week, and that was one of my better works. So hope you guys enjoy this awesome presentation by Holidium Labs and Dr. J. Dr. J Radio Live. I'll be doing a lot more shows with him very soon. Anybody else that sees these videos and thinks on another show, contact me at holidiumlabs@gmail. Show request, and of course, like, share, and tell the world how we stop pollution, one car at a time. With that, let's kick it off, shall we?
Back to another great episode of Dr. J Radio Live. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. J, broadcasting from the city of demons, the demonic city, La La Land, Hollyweird, whatever you want to call it. And we are broadcasting from 107.7 FM at New Orleans, Louisiana, UPRN, also Deprogram Radio in the United Kingdom, plus all the local affiliates, including iHeartMedia, as well as YouTube. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Dr. J Radio Live. Remember, that's everything is the name of the show. Every single social media account. But if you really want to be live during the show, I suggest you join us in the chat on our YouTube channel. That is DRJ Radio Live. Now we're going to have a very exciting show tonight. As a matter of fact, you are all familiar with this guest because he's always asking some of the most important questions in the chat. So without further ado, let's introduce our applied quantum physicist tonight, Gary Pratt. Gary, welcome to the show.
Yay, thank you.
First, let's just dive into the question of what are quantum physics?
The ability to move microcosmic energy from one place to another and have that energy affect the target.
Now, when I was always thinking of quantum physics, before we get to quantum computers, because I'm going to ask you about those, what those are too, I'm thinking of Nassim Haramein, and I know you've explained to me a couple of days ago, and even yesterday, that he is a theoretical physicist, and that's true. But what I'm thinking is, because from the previous interviews from Nassim Harriman and people like that, is really the goal of two things. One is anti-gravity. How can we accomplish Einstein-Rosen bridges? Essentially wormholes, which would literally throw everything that's science fiction out the door by lunch. It would become science fact. And the second is perpetual energy, free energy. That's what I usually think of when I think of quantum physics. Is it correct to say those are two parts under the big umbrella of quantum?
Big umbrella, that's the big tent.
Okay, good. Now, so that's good, because now I'm kind of wrapping my head more around this. Now, real quick, what does this have to do with a quantum computer? Because, of course, I know a regular computer operates in binary, although I'm still shocked when, like the movie Interstellar, when the main character, Matthew McConaughey, realizes that the ghost, which was actually him, was using binary as opposed to Morse code that his daughter thought. I just don't understand why binary became the thing, but regardless, that's what runs our everyday computers. What the heck does a quantum computer have to offer that a regular computer doesn't have to offer now?
That is a second hour explanation question. I would respectfully like to hold that one for the second hour.
Sure.
Because I want to start off in a couple of first and second gears. People need to kind of get a little eased into this first before we jump to how that impact of the game will be changed forever.
Because it will. Tonight. It absolutely will when it starts to, because I know they're talking about it now, at least in the near future.
Let's circle that question for the top of the hour, because that's what I want to talk about in the second part of the show. So really in depth.
We'll save that for the second hour. Now let's get some of the other things out. How did you become a quantum physicist, and what was your training? Because you have a resume like, whew, wow, I'm blown away. And for all those who haven't seen it, make sure you check out the bio on drjradiolive.com.
If you look through the bio, or if you got time even to go over some of the, I almost call achievements. My whole background has been around first wave digital electronic engineering. So I do not suffer from analog anxiety like a lot of the old timers out there.
That's right.
Satellite communication engineering was my background major in college. But at the time, I was quite interested in some of the leading research journals and cutting-edge fringe sciences that were out there, which kind of became a hobby.
And 20, 30 years ago, this quantum physics was considered a fringe science, really. Pseudoscience is what some people even call it.
17 years ago, it was theorized.
Yes.
By a lot of people.
And even before that, Tesla theorized this 100 years ago.
Today, we have leading applied, let me repeat, start over. We have leading college professors who teach theoretical quantum mechanics.
That's right. And that's one term that I always hear when I hear quantum physics is theoretic, right? Theoretical. I never heard until you applied.
That's why it's a new game.
That's right.
If you do not have quantum mechanics in your business model, your business has holes in it like you've never even seen coming.
Now,
quantum mechanics is changing and replacing chemistry at a much easier process and more efficient without any disruptions to your existing manufacturing process. That makes it unique. So let's say we're Ford Motor Company and we want to come out with a brand new way car engines perform. And we want these engines to come out with zero pollution. That was a great idea that was a great idea in 1969 on April 22nd when the world started Earth Day. And we moved to a greener planet. So lawmakers started to adapt laws and put stringent requirements and regulations on our air.
Oh, as a matter of fact, when I was an economics student, throughout one of our courses in microeconomics, we had to deal with energy emissions and how each year, exponentially, each company gets to produce less and less waste. And let's just say they are below their quota of what they're allowed to before they start getting their fines and penalized. They're able to trade those units of pollution.
How many car makers are there in the United States?
Oh, geez, what, a handful? We got Ford, we have Chevrolet. I mean, what else is there? Tesla now, but I don't know, does that even count as American, even though Elon Musk is living here, but he's from South America? South Africa, I mean. What else do we have out here? Jeep?
Your answer was correct, a handful. Just a handful of car dealerships, or car manufacturers. So the EPA comes along and says, we want the emissions reduced. Let's grab a pencil and pick a number out of the air. How about 60% by the year 2025? Or we fine you.
Sounds like AOC talking, but okay.
So the engineers that are a handful of companies out there are going, well, that's great and all, but we don't know how. Right now, Harley-Davidson is paying the EPA $1 million a month just to produce motorcycles.
Oh yeah, that's right. They don't want to change their model. Yeah, you want a 1,000cc engine and they want it gas powered. That's absolutely true. I didn't even think about that company.
Okay. When you buy, you're in California, so you go to your Harley dealer right down the street there, and then you say, I'd like to buy a Harley, and they'll take it out of the showroom and they'll put it up on the emissions rack, which then is forwarded to the Department of Motor Vehicles, that you purchased that vehicle. And then you sign the papers. That vehicle is not compliant. So for Harley-Davidson to be able to sell their vehicles, they must pay the carbon tax.
Every time their car is sold,
Yeah.
a bike is sold, and also I would think at the manufacturing level too, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the manufacturer is the one who takes on the customer's tax in this case.
I see.
Yep. Instead of passing that on to the customer, so when you go back to renew your license, you're going to have to pay the carbon tax. Well, Harley takes care of that by paying the EPA their fines. It's less paperwork for the EPA. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think as of every year, with them allowing to have less emissions, less pollution, that I would think that at some point the fines that Harley-Davidson pays would come through the roof. At some point, I would think that they too are going to be forced to adapt, not want to adapt, but forced to adapt. Because as I mentioned to you the other day,
to adapt. forced to adapt.
Remember, as I mentioned to you the other day, is we're not talking about cars right after horse-drawn carriages. We're talking about 1,600-year-old technology burning Chinese, chemicals to send a rocket through, China from whatever year it was when they started doing so. 600 AD, maybe around there, 1,400 years. Regardless, it's just disgusting. I mean, how can we even call ourselves a civilization if this is what we're using now?
We're using explosion technology in the engine.
Yeah, the internal combustion engine. That's right. That's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what the Chinese were using. And that's what blows my mind, because you have all these advancements. People got iPads and smartphones, and we were just talking here. Some people had somebody here in the chat installed their Tesla charger. Other people started buying the cars, and as so am I. But yet, the Saturn V rocket, the Apollos, even whatever's being used now by SpaceX are still burning chemicals to get these rockets up in a very traditional way, which is total BS in my mind.
I got a question for Mr. Elon Musk, should you happen to hear this question.
Yeah, because I'm reaching out to him. I'm sure. I tried.
Why are you using rockets to launch your capsule when high intensity air balloons would propel the unit quite nicely up in the air, and then deploy your Tesla engine to make it the rest of the way?
It's actually ironic you mentioned that, because some of the skydivers I know, because every time there's a new record, say once the effort was made by Red Bull, and I don't know, very many people know this, there was an unofficial record made after that beat that Red Bull skydiver who jumped from 104,000 feet were gone up from balloons.
Yeah.
Pressurized suits, obviously, but they went up in traditional helium balloons.
Tesla gets about 200 miles on a charge.
Yeah, which is better than the new BMW the new BMW, which looks like a Lamborghini. I believe I read it gets 60 miles. That's pretty low.
So comparatively, if you went straight up, 200 miles would be more than adequate.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because then if you're breaking through,
you got 90% of the way.
Yeah, just punch it through.
You got 90% of the way there by a balloon that you popped up in the air. So, anyways, enough about that. Now, interesting enough, though, Tesla does make a handsome amount of money annually due to their zero emission vehicle, and so he is awarded carbon allowance and carbon credits, which is about $1,000 a year. He built 55,000 cars last year. That's $55 million that hit their bottom line in carbon allowances. Now, what he can do with these carbon allowances is he can offset them to companies like Harley Davidson. Harley is paying, $12 million a year. Well, Tesla can sell $12 million worth of carbon allowances for the low price of, say, $6 million. And Harley then can buy those and pay their fine in full. It only costs them half as much. So it's a reward for those who do well and penalty for everybody else.
Now, what do you think is holding civilization back? I mean, I have some ideas. Like, I go back to that Richard Doty interview where he could talk about ETs, but he said that any talk about technology or anything that could be used for commercial applications, such as medicine extending life, or technology that can have military applications, including anti-gravity, was completely confidential and classified.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how he's going to feel about tonight's discussion. Because we are far and beyond what a lot of the futurists are saying will happen 50 years from now. I've been doing 20 years already. So it's a, that was Miss Bluetooth going off there, sorry.
No problem.
Noise in the background. So a lot of people are just simply not aware of what is currently available to make a bold prediction about how things will be in the future. You know, and with quantum mechanics, it doesn't interrupt the existing manufacturing process. So what Holidium can do is we can enrich a product by matching the ingredient with its equivalent frequency and then sending that frequency into the product. It then changes the way the product behaves, which I think is a great time. We should probably try the what I wanted to kick off this hour with is segue it into the lemon challenge. And what we're doing here is we are going to change the vibrational state of a lemon or any beverage or any food. You can try this with lots of things. Tell your friends all about it. It's a fun little thing to test. And you had a chance to try it yesterday, Dr. J.
Absolutely.
Did it blow your mind?
It blew my mind, and so did the other test with my car. Both cars, as a matter of fact.
And so what everybody can do is they can go to HOLIDIUMLABS.com. And on the far left, it says lemon test. So to prep for this, all you simply have to do is cut a lemon in half, place half of it in a kitchen, and go into another room, making sure the computer screen is not facing the direction of the kitchen. So if you have your laptop on your desk and the back of the computer is then facing the kitchen, you're in an ideal situation. Cut the lemon in half, came from the same lemon. You bite into both of them, they should certainly taste identical. However, when you you go to the website, press lemon test, the lemon is going to turn into a black fuzzy. The black fuzzy is then going to be broadcasting a monatomic Orme frequency in M state directly from your computer screen into the lemon, changing the way the lemon tastes and reacts to the body. Now we're incorporating a frequency into the lemon that takes its cellular memory back to the point when it was picked off the tree, making it fresh, preserving that food by reverse its decay, rigor mortis, however you want to look at what happens from the moment an apple falls from the tree, it starts to die. We restore its energy vitality back to its natural state.
Are you watching the chat by any chance, Gary?
No, huh?
Let me just throw some shout outs. We got Melissa Morton. Melissa, sorry I missed your call. I hope you got my message. We have to catch up soon because I want to bring you on air. And I see Nori in here too. Also, Adam at Areki Studios and Pyramid 7, my newest moderator, who wants to know if you can provide battery banks.
Oh, that's a great question. Let's just jump right into it. Well, think of it this way. What we're doing is we're changing the entire infrastructure by using an entire different process. So instead of conducting a battery bank, per se, what we would do is we would convert your cell phone into a perpetual battery. By doing that, we would send a image to your phone that you would then activate as a permanent light on your phone screen.
Wallpaper like mine.
And the light that comes, and the light that comes from the screen is actually the biophoton mimicry energy field that when you plug your phone into the wall, it would power your house. Wow. Yeah. We change the game in so many ways by what boy, how close are we to the top? I'm 30 minutes of foaming. I'm foaming at the mouth to really cut loose, but we have the ability to change the way matter behaves via text message, video game, 2D, 3D movie, live radio as you're hearing it right now, live or recorded as you're watching it right now from YouTube. You're playing the, let me activate the program, turn on the Holiditron. Okay, power source is on. Okay, right now for the next 3 minutes, point your phone at any vehicle for the next 3 minutes as I talk, and you will be surprised that the RPMs will drop and the pollution from your car will stop. For the next 3 minutes, I am activating the program that is photonically coming through the speaker of your phone and broadcasting a 25-foot anti-frequency to 78 choice toxins that are inside gasoline. The Chinese created the explosion, which is an inferior power source. An implosion is much more efficient. A few weeks ago, I don't know if you got a chance to go, Dr. J. Did you make it to the Conscious Life Expo?
No, I have not been for a couple years, unfortunately.
Okay.
Last time I was there was actually with Melissa and Sean. That was the last time I was actually there, which was, geez, when was that, Melissa? Maybe you remember, 2015, 2016?
Okay. I was there 2010, 11, 2012.
2012 was my first, actually. 2013 was my second. That's right. Yeah. Probably crossed paths because that's when I got some of those energy bands, as a matter of fact. There in 2012 and 2013.
We probably crossed paths and met. Yeah, you probably stopped by my booth.
We did, absolutely.
Yeah, I do like 4 trade shows a year. I do 3 to 4 interviews. I don't do a lot, so it's rare. But when I do, I'm here to bring it to get the education out there.
And that's what we need to do, because as you know, Harry, that's exactly what Elon Musk is doing. That's why he built the Tesla car. He didn't build the Tesla car because he thought we should have electric cars. He built it as to prove a concept, to prove that his batteries are superior to have electric cars. So he built it to prove to everybody out, the car makers, the car drivers, that look, there is another option that is just getting better with each day.
Elon, if you might be catching this, I might have a little something that you want to try. It's a small 1 inch by 1 inch hologram seal that you can place on top of your I believe, 248 lithium-ion batteries and series engines that will recharge themselves. If Elon doesn't get back to me, I guess I'll start building cars in the near future. We're there. We have perpetual energy in 9 different forms. But my newest creation, which has happened here in the last 24 hours since we last spoke yesterday, when I demonstrated to you a small piece of our technology, but went to the drawing board since then, and wow, have we changed the game since then, just in 24 hours. Which is so unique about our company is because I have the ability to take a concept and be in production in working application within 24 hours, to broadcast seamlessly, simultaneously to 6.2 billion phones at the same time.
Wow.
The current production can handle 1.2 million stagnant holographic device energy fields manufactured daily. So our lab is rocking. Now, what does this all mean? Application, we are ready. We can fill any container order within weeks. That nets somebody off about a 40-foot container. I can pack 15 million products into one container. So large container items or large orders or bundles, no matter the company or country, can be handled instantly. Again, our technology comes 2 ways. And its simplest form to understand, if you have or have heard of the word epigenetics. So science researchers in Canada were all excited that they moved energy 100 yards further than anybody can kick a football or throw one. I started giggling. We moved energy successfully 17,328 miles.
Wow.
New Jersey to Australia, Perth.
Here, real quick, let me just go through some more here. We have here, Pyramid 7 he does want a Powerwall, okay. And he also wants to know if you can provide sheets of graphene.
So, let me help him there. So why do you, I guess the question is, why do you need the graphene? What's its purpose for? Is it a power source? I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that question. Can I provide sheets of graphene?
Yeah, that's what it is. And then the next one is the website, which I'm leaving down here. But real quick, if you can answer, does your wallpaper, is it on your website? That way I can write it your website in here in the chat for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The EMF, like the EMF wallpaper?
Yes. Yeah, so we're just waiting to find out if there is Pyramid, I believe it was Pyramid 7. Yes, Pyramid 7, if you can provide what Gary was asking of why you want the sheets of graphene. I believe that's what you said, Gary, right? Oh, here. Yeah. Yes. He says, I would like to share with at least one person to show that I know will enjoy this topic. Oh, that's good. Please do. Battery, solar, hydro, wind. If that answers to you.
Okay. Yeah, power source. That's what I figured. Nanopolygraphene tubes are pretty unique to play with. If you guys want to go in if you guys are looking for the battery industry, I'm telling you where it's going. It's going with hemp batteries. I've decided and chosen that field and get rid of the lithium ions because they're nothing more than million years of decomposing in our landfills for Tesla for the next 1,000 years. So, hey, Elon, you didn't do a great job for being green. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because we talked about this, and you talked about charging hemp, and I wanted to ask you why that would be superior to lithium ion, which is the standard. This is literally what people are using right now. That's in every smartphone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the battery to have, lithium ion.
No, the future is hemp batteries. You want organic, don't panic. Lithium ion, it's kind of like nuclear. You don't want it around you, and it takes millions of years to decompose.
And we also mentioned I believe this is on your website, or in a video that I'd seen on your website, Sheryl Crow even talks about the radiation from a cell phone she believes that caused her brain tumor.
You know, it was years ago at the, I was invited to a function for League of Conservative Voters out in California. They honored me with an award in emissions, and it was held at the Johnny Cochran home about a month after Johnny died, and people there at the meeting were asking me back then. I mean, we're talking years ago. You know, hey Thunder, what's the real story about cell phones and EMF? Should we be concerned? And my answer back then was, well, I'm not like one of those, you know, a-hole dads. I just don't let my children have a cell phone because I understand the thinness of their skull and relationship to what that would mean to them, you know, as a carcinogen. Certainly pregnant mothers who, you know, sitting in a rocker and place their cell phone on their bellies is a bad idea, or in the stroller or anywhere near their children.
Yeah, especially a child that's growing every single day and is very susceptible to things around them, because a developing child, geez, the last thing you want to do is damage it.
Correct.
Real quick, there's another question real quick. First of all, Pyramid 7 says, that's my understanding as well about hemp batteries being, as you mentioned, superior. Rocco, Rocco, forgive me for not saying your last name. What do you think of Nassim Haramein's physics? And the reason why I thought it was important to bring it up right now is because of the fact that we just talked about him, and the fact that he is theoretical as opposed to applied. Because I also, since I've known him for years, I booked him for Art's show when Art came back in 2015 for his first week, and Nassim has been on my show multiple times, going back before Art Bell, and as a matter of fact, he gave me a lot of these people who have courses and meditations and such, remote viewing courses, they always give me access. So I have access to Nassim's Resonance Academy, which I haven't gone through it yet, but I believe it's a crash course in theoretical physics. And I know that what Nassim told me when I spoke to him today was that more mainstream publications are starting to publish his work on theoretical quantum physics. But again, that's theoretical versus applied.
Yeah, this is an applied, accurate science that's duplicatable, has been tested and third-party tested at the EPA lab, set world records in specific area of research at Intertech Labs for cell phone reduction, EMF, radiation. The list is insane. When you hear the applications of another 67,000 that we've created here I've created personally 17 years. I've been 18 years now, somewhere in there. Have been creating applications, and now we're ready to take it to a complete new level. We've built the holodeck to now deploy it and we had to wait for technology to kind of catch up to what we were able to do. I think back to the days when I was professor at the Video Gaming Academy. I was teaching people different applications on what the future meant in 3D reality. But back then when we thought the greatest at the time were reality goggles. Virtual reality was going to be where video games are going.
That's true. I remember that.
Yeah.
And actually, I've heard something different. Not so much. Yes, I mean, obviously, for decades, that's what we expected, right? We thought right now VR would be the biggest thing. But what I've gotten the inside is that what they're trying to do with video games is not so much the VR, but they're trying to make TVs. Well, Richard Shaw knows the most about this. He's the one who told me that they're trying to make it go so fast. I don't know how many frames per second he said, but basically, so when you're watching a video game or a movie, you don't know it's not real. It's going to be so accurate and so clean the way it rolls. It's not going to, you can't even, they're trying to eliminate the frames. Really, you should ask Richard directly, but what I do know is that's the goal of these 4K Ultra TVs, which essentially, I think the next step would be 10K, and Lord knows where it's going to go from there, but that is the true goal of video games right now, and TVs.
Yeah, that's the goal, and you would call that the information superhighway.
Yes.
Okay, well, put your seatbelt on, because we're in the information Autobahn. We've taken this to the point where your cell phone now broadcasts out in the room your live performance of Pearl Jam, and you're watching all 5 people live in a hologram sequence in front of you. And the sound is coming in, not in Lucas's THX or whatever, Dolby or 5 surround. No. It's sounding live as if they are playing their instruments in front of you. You don't need the TV screen. And it comes off your Android, powered by Holidium. We are taking this thing to a level that no one ever saw coming. We had to wait for technology to catch up to what we were able to do.
That's true. That is true. And geez, cable TV now, you have 1,000+ channels. You have the HD, then you have the non-HD, and now there seems to be something for everything. I mean, Tolbro, I can't believe there's a television stuff on this crap. So some of these topics blow my mind. I mean, really? You're watching a doctor who is a toe specialist? I mean, where do they come up with these topics? But it just blows my freaking mind as to what TV's gotten to.
Let's go over my bio in the last 10 minutes so people have a kind of a better understanding for when I come into this second hour. It's full throttle, brother. I'm going to blow the lid off everyone's house. It is a new age that we are in. This almost utopia jump between Fred Flintstone and the Jetsons was handled by a little green dude named Kazoo. Do you remember him?
No, the name sounds familiar, but I'm thinking of the actual musical instrument.
Kazoo was this little green floating Martian, and he took Fred to the future and showed him the Flintstones.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were referring to something real as opposed to what was in the Flintstones or Jetsons or any of those. Yeah, I used to watch all of those. I mean, the 80s. Oh, yeah.
You're Kazoo today.
Showing people basically like the yellow book, essentially, right? Giving people a glimpse of the future, essentially.
Thank you for bringing that up. Have you not noticed that it's been one of my questions on a lot of your guests the last few weeks is Yellow Book?
Yes.
it eludes me. I'm very intrigued with it. Anybody in the world that has anybody that knows how I can get a photograph of it, that's all I need. And I can extract off using biophoton resonant frequency extraction into a biomimicry off the photograph. I can replicate the intrinsic information stored in Yellow Book. To me, that's the Holy Grail. For real.
Oh yeah, and wasn't Yellow Book? Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. Is the ET version, right? And they have created at least some people who have worked at S4 or other places have talked about a terrestrial version which doesn't have the yellow tint in the hologram. Do you know if that's true, or is that just we're waiting for it still?
Get a hold of me. We'll meet in a cafe. I'll wear a black hat and sunglasses, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. That is, one of the few things in this world that I've been out, because I love being a paranormal researcher, hunter. I mean, just going out there and collecting the data and understanding things, and it popped up to all these strange and bizarre locations all over America. Putting energetic energy fields across lead lines and activating them, vortex fields. I've been Johnny Appleseed of the frequency game for the last 17 years. Just repairing Mother Earth. That's the goal. There's no other goal. She's broken. Let's fix it. Step up. I'm willing to. The janitor of our generation, to clean up the mess the baby boomers have left us, is here. I turned 50 this year on Earth Day. I like to call it my Earth Day. I don't have birthdays. We have the technology to stop pollution in 24 hours worldwide in one day by turning your car into an air purifier that sucks particulate matters out of the air into your engine and purifies it as it blows out dryer vent steam with your cell phone. Wow. What? Well, if that thing works, and testing my phone on an EMF meter works, what else does this guy do?
That's right.
We grow plants faster than anybody in the world. We grow plants faster than anybody in the world. We can take the CBD industry, for instance, and the cannabis industry and the hemp industry, where it's $3,000 a pound for cannabis. It's $100 a pound for hemp, because the CBDs in the cannabis, which gets you high with THC, has a higher CBD count and a higher value sold to the customer. Well, what if we extract the frequency from the cannabis into a biomimicry pattern, and then broadcast that pattern across the hemp? You get the exact same match. And now, instead of $3,000 a pound, you pay $100 a pound. I can charge $200 a pound for my hemp that I grow, and compared to the $3,000 a pound, I'm a pretty good deal.
That's true. That's true. We did talk about this, $3,000 a pound versus $100 a pound, and it's supercharged, and that's 3,000%. No, 30,000% is the difference. $100 versus $3K.
Well, how are they going to compete? So our objective this year is to win both the Jack Hara Award and the Cannabis Cup Award with a strand that we call Hologram. It's frequency fertilizer. Here's how it works. What I do is I extracted off the island of Hawaii in the Dole pineapple plantation, which has the most fertile soil conditions in the world.
I
By photographing the soil, sorry?
Real quick, I was going to say Pyramid 7 and also Infinity Loop want to know about what is up with Yellow Book. If you could explain it. I remember I explained it last time. You said that was a pretty good description. Do you want me to explain it? I think you're the guest. We'll have you explain it tonight.
No, go ahead. No, your explanation of Yellow Book was right on point.
Okay. Yellow Book, this is for Pyramid 7 and also for, Infinity Loop. Yellow Book came from an ET crash, or was given by ETs, and essentially is a piece of technology that, depending on your state of mind and your emotions, every time you turn it on or operate this machine, it creates a hologram of the future. And the reason why it's called Yellow Book is because of the yellow tint to it. And the reason why is because we are emotional beings, who are Homo sapiens. That is one of the reasons why ETs apparently want to study us so much, but that's a whole different conversation. Back to Yellow Book specifically. So if you went and looked at Yellow Book this morning about what your next year would look like, what your Yellow Book looking at it now, or even this evening, is going to be two different things, three different things. Each time you operate it, it's going to show you a different future, because your emotions, your state of mind affect everything. And that's why you're going to see, you're never going to see the same thing, really.
Well, and you have to read it from cover to cover without going to sleep. Otherwise, you won't retain any of the information when you go back and try to read it.
That's true. That's also true. And I did leave that out. Yes. That's a fact, too, by the way.
So
a lot of people can search this Yellow Book. I mean, Project Yellow Book, I don't know if it's even called Project Yellow Book, because I think the only project about it is to reverse engineer it.
Thank you. That's my goal. I've reverse engineered quite a few mysteries and anomalies on our planet. The Integratron out in Landers, California is one of mine.
Yes, right here, Giant Rock.
You been there?
George Van Tassel. Oh, absolutely. I've been interested in that since the 80s, and I've been there multiple times because it's only, I think 4 hours away from me. It's not far at all.
It's out in the middle. Yeah, did you know that's the North America's largest vortex?
No, I did know that he died before he completed it. I did know that he was talking about that it was both a fountain of youth, and also he was trying to create, I think it had something to do with where it was placed was ley lines. I also do know that George Van Tassel received the instructions of how to build it from, ETs that landed there at Giant Rock. And that's why he built a runway for his plane, because he ended up moving there after he met them. But yes, I've been through the Integratron, and you feel it. Also, the acoustics in there too are very different.
Not one nail built in a 2-story silo dome. Isn't it a work of art?
It really is. I really wish George Van Tassel did not pass away before he finished what was needed, because you probably know what's missing from here, from the local one in here. I don't know if there exists another one. I think you said you're working on one, but I don't know what's missing from this one here that George Van Tassel was working on. That what would have, Gary, answer for this for me. What would it do if George Van Tassel was able to complete it before he died?
You got to be one of the greatest hosts of all time, because that is a awesome question. And if there's anybody out there who can answer that one, my hat's off to you, because it's been a very big mystery to a lot of people for a very long time.
About 50 years, yeah.
So what I did there, So what I did is I went out there and I stood in the spot where George died, and said, if I was George, what would I do next? And said, And I said, then I would what? And then I would do that. And now what do I got? Oh, wow, this thing generates power. That's pretty gnarly. Magnetic north, east, south, and west, poles buried 42 feet into the ground. Quite nice. Let's look upstairs. Looks down the center. Oh, that little hole. Placed a glass of water there and took a photograph of it, and I was able to extract the biomimicry code and reverse engineer George's work. Wow. I call it Integratron. Or I'm sorry, I call it Aqua Terratron, which is the next generation up from the Integratron. It can power about 450,000 homes off of free energy, wirelessly, if need be, or connected to any grid. Works on the principles of boiling water. What happens to the steam?
It's true. It does happen.
What happens to steam when you boil water?
Steam goes up.
At 26.6 miles per hour, that is the absolute only thing it can do.
Yes.
Go up. At 26 miles per hour, steady. Put fan blades sideways, stack them on top of each other into a chimney cone, and you got a constant 26-mile-an-hour breeze. Put caps on the top, put a pyramid, and invert that air back down through the center, and the wind spins because the barometric pressure differential has now occurred. You got the conditions of a tornado, and you get 176-mile-an-hour downflow, spinning windmill blades. When the final blade is spinning, take that to charge electricity to the water and boil it again. The windmill, second to the end, you hook up to dehumidifiers to put water in. The excess power is the 750 windmills stacked in the towers. Over power, over unity, free energy. Simple.
We
built that process.
No, keep going on. I don't want to ruin this stream right now because you're on to something. I didn't want to take you back to something else because someone did comment on something which I know you definitely agree. But keep going on.
Well, we designed that structure, the most advanced perpetual energy source, and then said, can we beat that? Yeah. We made it 4 times more powerful. Now it does 1.7 million homes of power. I figured out how to use a turbo and break the laws of thermal. This is one of my proudest statements. I love this one. I am proud to say I broke the laws of thermodynamics as we know them, and I'm not in cuffs. I shattered the laws. Since the barometric pressure differential of the steam, coupled with my thermal smart technology, creates an internal controlled environment so I can pinpoint the reactions of a funnel cloud dropping from the sky without forming into a tornado and getting out of control and harnessing that power perpetually. Do you have a break at the top of the hour?
No. I was going to tell you we're straight through. We haven't, unless I asked Joe for one, but lately I've gotten accustomed to them without them. But we will be reintroducing them because I do usually need one at the top of the hour, at the bottom of the hour. But no, we're straight through. That's why we have to be off 5 minutes till. Although I'm pretty sure we can go literally until 11 Eastern.
Okay, just double checking. Give me a 1 minute, Philip. Give some shouties out. I'm going to use the very big man.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat. Let me start from the top.
I'll be right back.
Russell Grant, shout out to you. Cold Warrior, thanks for being in one of the, right on. Also, Everything Conscious, Nori, thank you. Adaraki Studios, Adam, thank you here for being my original moderator. Geez, back when I first started broadcasting, and after my 20-month absence due to recurring autoimmune pneumonia. You do not want to have that, believe me. You do not want to have a tube down your throat with a propofol drip. You do not want to be induced into comas, trust me. Okay, who else? We got Carmen Smith. Glad you're back. Clow. Welcome, Clow. Melissa Morton. And I see, Melissa, I hope you got my little message at the bottom. Broadcast Team Alpha. Infinity Loop. Pyramid 7, my newest moderator, as nominated by, of course, Adam at Adaraki Studios. So let's see, I mentioned Infinity Loop. Luke Hildreth. And Rocco, I hope I say this properly. Is it Rasiopo? I know you're Italian, Rocco, and being Greek, hey, you're right across the, literally, you're almost next door to us, just across the little ocean that separates Italy and Greece. Interesting fact you guys should know is that during World War II, Hitler thought Greece was such a threat that he had the Nazis attack from the north via Albania, and he asked Mussolini to attack Greece from the west. So most people don't know that, and I figured might as well, since we got a quick little break here. Craig Stewart, shout out to you too. And did I miss anybody else? Dave Lopez. Okay, let me tell you guys a quick little story. This literally only happened one time in World War II. And this actually, my grand uncle on my father's side was a part of this. He was part of the people that were defending Greece from the Nazis on the northern front, from the Albanian. That's why I told you the west was attacked by the Italians and the north was attacked by the Nazis. And so, mind you, Greece then was a third world country, and they were using old weapons left over from World War I or even before that. We're talking, I remember seeing my grand uncle's pistol there, which was essentially a muzzle, a single shot muzzle ball almost. I remember you had to put the charge on the side. Really, I don't know much about old guns, but man, that thing was an antique, that's for darn sure. Well, anyhow, Hitler said it would take approximately 30 days to get to or take over Greece. It actually took about 6 months. It took 45 days to reach Athens. So in those 45 days, my grand uncle and his battalion were pushed from northern Greece on the border of Albania all the way down to Athens, and they fought like hell. Now, afterwards, when a lot of them were killed, most of them were killed, and they were surrounded. They literally were going down to the last blow, because once their bullets were out, or muzzles, or whatever you want to call them, those circular balls. Forgive me for blanking out on that. Anyhow, they were just fighting with knives. And clearly, when you're surrounded by Germany, Nazi Germany with their advanced weaponry, of course, they drop their weapons and their guns, which have no more ammo, and they're ready to die. They are ready to be executed. Well, this is the really interesting part. The Nazi colonel that was there, that had observed the fight and had been part of it for those 45 days, pushing all the way down from Albania to Athens, he lined up the battalion that included my grand uncle and actually presented them arms and let them go home, and told them that they fought like true warriors for their country, and that they appreciated, even though that they were enemies of Nazi Germany, that the colonel was so impressed that they put up more of a fight than any other country in Europe, that they respected them for being as proud of their country and defending it. So I thought you guys want to hear that, because my granduncle is no longer alive, and my father, who is the last living person who can tell the story, aside from those villagers in Metochi, which is a small village in Greece, has about 35 families, literally 35 families. There's only one little store. I remember there's one phone in the entire city, because there is no electricity outside from the little plaza, which includes one store, which is also the only restaurant and coffee bar. It's a little all-in-one, and it's very, very small, believe me, but I urge you all to check it out. Yes, it was a very, very violent time. Okay, let's see who else I can talk to while I am waiting for Gary to get back. I hope you all are ready for his lemon test. Oh, you are? I didn't know if you were, we were waiting on you while I was telling some little history here about my family. Anyway, I was just getting ready to tell people about the lemon test. Oh, you tell it.
Lemon test.
Yeah.
No, what happened to you? What happened yesterday on your lemon test? What'd you do?
I used Powerade. And what I did was I used the control cup, which I left in the kitchen downstairs, which was about 30 feet away from where my second cup, identical cups, which were plastic, not glass, of Powerade, red Powerade. And I went upstairs, and literally with an image that was on my iPhone that Gary had sent me, I had pointed it with the screen light on onto the glass that was filled with Powerade. After, I think it was about 3 minutes, Gary, correct me on the time, I went downstairs and grabbed the control cup. Hadn't tasted it yet until I brought it up side by side with the new cup that I had used the image, the hologram, the image, and then tasted first the control cup, and of course it was just red Powerade with the tangy taste. Then I tasted the new one, the one that had gone through this little test, and not only was it sweeter, the tanginess had dropped significantly. I mean, it was almost like a whole different drink. And this worked. And mind you, folks, before this, we had done the car test on both my cars. I mean, Gary was
What
able
happened
to...
there?
Jeez. Well, for one, the car stopped vibrating. For two, the emissions of my Honda were so drastically reduced, you could literally, I was able to be right up at the exhaust with sunglasses on. It was steaming onto my sunglasses, and I can actually handle the smell, and it was not this dark smoke that was coming out of my car anymore. And the RPM had dropped significantly too. Both cars, this happened.
And all we did is send a picture to your phone.
That's right. That's all we did. And it worked. Folks, believe me, it worked. And if you read in the bio, Gary did the very first on-air test on Coast to Coast, because since then I know that Uri Geller's done we've done obviously online or on-air experiments, but the most interesting experiment that I'd ever heard to be conducted on air was not Uri Geller's stopping the clock trick, which he's done multiple times for me here, but if you read the bio, which I plugged in the website where you all can check it out for Gary, he was able to fill in the gaps here, Gary. 9-degree difference you were able to get a drink up to? Or
2 glasses of water sitting,
mm-hmm.
2 glasses of water sitting side by side. Thermometers in each glass. 4 ice cubes, 8 ounces of water in each glass. And we started the episode, my first ever public appearance, and certainly the press release of this technology was done on Coast. I chose Coast to Coast because I realized that Art had built a website that would have an archive for history. And so I thought, you know what? That's a pretty safe place to break this technology out, and agreed to do a show with Coast. 20 minutes into the experiment, both glasses of water side by side, there was a 9-degree temperature drop. In the laws of thermodynamics, that is impossible. Two identical waters using ambient temperatures in a room will be the exact same temperature. We use this technology. The only difference was we put a small hologram sticker on one of the glasses. That was it. We could place one of these small hologram stickers on a air conditioning vent, and the air coming out of the vent drops 15 degrees. When you place these stickers on a window, it takes the side of your house from, outside, let's say it's a 90-degree day and your window's in the sun, that surface outside temperature, that window can be about 140 degrees. Placing one of our hologram seals on there creates a instantaneous barrier, like 4 feet of pink insulation wrapped around your house with duct tape that's invisible. And as simple to install as a small sticker on the window, you get the same effect. Let's throw this into overdrive, shall we? Here we go. You touched base earlier about the quantum computer and what that means.
Yes. That was one of my second question, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can understand, pull out your credit card right now, everyone. You look and you got your little hologram there down on the card. Okay. Okay. That hologram is a 2-dimensional image shot with 2 cameras to create a 3-dimensional image. You know how to, hey, by the way, do you know how to make a 3D movie?
No.
You add a second camera. It's that easy.
Interesting. Never actually thought about that. I mean, I know 3D goggles, the old ones are very basic. It's just red and blue tint on each. So one is red, one is blue. That I know. I haven't seen any recent movies in 3D, so I don't know what they use nowadays.
And add a second camera. Do you know how to make a 3D projection? Add a second projector. It's, yeah.
It's that simple. Interesting. I didn't know that. So all these new movies in IMAX 3D, that's essentially what they're doing, is a second projector?
Yeah. Or if a lot of the phones nowadays come with 3D cameras. So they have cameras on each end, and you turn the phone sideways. That's where your eyeballs would be to project a 2D lens into a 3D perspective. So we can now agree that we've seen pictures which are 2D, and we visualize things in 3D. Would we agree that there is a holographic multiverse? We do not live in a universe. Of course not. We'd be stuck in 1D. You're telling me there's only 1D? Then I don't believe in a universe. I got proof. Here's a picture. It's in 2D. The end. If I sit on my computer and I look at, like I'm designing a brand new car, it's in artist 3D rendering in a 2-dimensional screen that gives it a 3-dimensional look from a 4th-dimensional perspective. So take a picture of an object, of a matter, and then enlarge that millions of times. It's like looking through a microscope. Let's look at the work of Raymond Royal Rife, who wife was in the Baha'i faith. And I think she was Laos. I think she was from Laos, Cambodia, somewhere in there. And so he married an Asian, and when she was over at Christmas time, her and the family were chanting. And Raymond felt bad because he didn't know the words. So he went out to his lab, and at the time at the Scripps Institute in La Jolla had the world's most powerful microscope. And as he looked in, his wife and the family are chanting, he saw things jumping around in the microscope. The birth of frequencies, because we can now see them. With a digital photograph, we have the ability to enlarge that photograph 2.5 million times to where we can see the movement of that monatomic particle, its signature. We copy that in a biomimicry and transduce that energy field into our hologram. So the same can be done with a circuit board. So I take a photograph of a circuit board, create a 3D environment, and I've now taken a thickness of a piece of paper, and I have the computer motherboard. But here's the great upgrade. You see, in 1 square inch, one can hold 3 terabytes of information. That's 1 square inch. So a 8 by 8 square inch holographic field can move a lot of data. Now, how do we integrate that with our already existing technology without having to go out and buy all this new equipment? We integrate it with existing technology, making Holidium future-proof. Doesn't matter. Any technology comes out, we just adapt to it. So now the computer has this field just like as if you have the real computer sitting in your room. Place it on top of a ham radio. And now you have a wireless motherboard producing a server signal as far as a ham radio will go. Well, that's convenient because now we don't need special Wi-Fi signals to pull them out of the air when there's already an existing platform that nobody uses. The ham codes. And they go long, long, long ways and can move a lot of data without the harm. So you can download an entire Encyclopedia Britannica in 0.01 seconds on your phone or your laptop, which you place on top of the holographic platform and turn it just overrides your existing operating system and gives us its 700 terabyte boost. Now, in the business sector, we just took a quantum leap to going from I think it was 1971, Wrigley's company. They started the binary barcode system. We're all familiar with today, go through the shopping cart.
Yeah, if you remember the very beginning when I was talking about Interstellar, I always was wondering where binary came from because obviously we had Morse before.
Yeah, so we created binary's cool, ones and zeros, but how about trinary? You got balance, but now you have harmony. You got X and Y axis, but now you have
Z.
Also D.
Oh, interesting. D.
Which is dimension
yeah.
or density, and then it has a number up to 1 to 91, depending on which field you're going to access and deliver to. Did I just say 91 dimensions? Yes. Yes, I did.
I see here,
We've taken this to a new
PCBs
level.
can be custom made, printed very easily. PCB?
Can PCB be printed easily?
Oh, no, it's a comment that says PCBs can be custom made, printed very easily. What's a PCB?
What's a PCB?
That's okay. Pyramid 7 can respond to that. Pyramid, if you're hearing this, maybe you can.
I need a better question there.
Anyway, go on.
Peanut butter jam? PBJ?
No, PCB.
Oh, PCB. I'm not sure what the acronym is.
I was wondering if it had something to do with the computer, but no, it's not.
Oh, okay. So now, that takes a new way. Well, the same can be done with our, energy field. So let's look at what the binary code is. Now, I'm obviously not telling anybody to commit fraud, but what I'm about to expose is how fragile and obsolete this binary code system is out there. Now, let's take, for instance, let's pick a company, Legos, okay? I haven't played with Legos in years, but they seem to be a pretty cool company. I get 1,000 of them for about, what, 40, 50 bucks nowadays? Okay. Now, have you seen the Star Wars Lego edition? It's $400 compared to the box of 50 Legos. And the only difference between the two is the box. Open them up, what do you got? 1,000 Legos. Yeah, looks. So by counterfeiting just the box, you buy them for 40, you return them for, scans here says, I owe you $400. That is just a small example of how binary, using an obsolete system. How many of those returns can Lego afford before they go belly up? Right? Okay.
PCB, so, printed circuit boards.
Well, this is a holographic image that takes on the intrinsic biomimicry field of what that picture is, and creates that hologram picture to be a working motherboard. So, very good question.
No, it was just that was a comment. And actually, I'll throw in a question about this. Yes, PCBs absolutely can be printed very easily right now. And my question has to do with Moore's Law. I know Moore's Law was essentially that approximately every 18 months, it might be 20 months, but every 18 months that you were able to have double the transistors per circuit board. And I don't know what the number is now, but I heard Moore's Law is coming to an end because the rate that we're able to double our technology at has actually surpassed the 18-month. So I don't know what the next law is, but I do know Moore's Law is ending.
I think that would be called the laws of quantum mechanics.
I would think so, because this is the age we're getting into.
If you do not have quantum mechanics in your business model, your business is doomed and will fail to your competitor who has decided to go with that plan, make their product. It's not even like a close second. Make your product so above all of the other competitors that it becomes the norm. I'm not looking at working with the biggest companies in the world. I'm looking at working with the smallest companies in the world. I see a bigger upside. If you're driving a semi and you're driving at 5 miles to the gallon, and you pay for your gas, you pay for your lease or your truck that you own, if you could put 25% of the fuel bill in your wallet, are you going to have a pretty Christmas?
I don't know.
That's one truck. Yeah, well, you'll save about 12 grand a year.
At least.
That's one truck. There are 460 million cars in the United States. They build 40 million of them annually. We have a technology that, as you're driving down the road, as a passenger, of course, because you would never drive in text. As a passenger in a car, like in your Uber driver, you're going down the road. You take the image, you point it at the floor, and the Uber driver's car, RPMs drop, increasing his efficiency while he's going down the road. No mechanic. It's a tune-up text message. It makes your car perform better. Now, if we just took 78 toxins in unleaded, 83 toxins in diesel fuel, 300 microclusters of garbage that they added in the additive stage at the refinery, and I made that inert. Our bodies are made of 79% water.
It's true.
It's a lot easier than cleaning up. It's a piece of cake working on human bodies. One of the cases that I spent many years on was the Linda Ripa case in New Jersey.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I was hoping we'd get to that before we end, and we do have over 25 minutes, plus I'm going to make sure I want to give the last few minutes for you to plug in your website and everything available on it. So I'm glad you brought up Miss Ripa.
Well, let's talk about the applications for the health for the human body.
Yes, absolutely.
I got a phone call from a woman who, when I set the phone down, put it on speaker for 45 minutes, as my mouth laid open in awe, I heard the most horrific medical health condition I've ever heard in modern history. Miss Ripple was hit by a drunk driver. She later became the chairman of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. She was hit with her convertible, then 7 months pregnant. Car flipping hen over end and slamming into an AT&T van parked down the street. The baby was pulled out and was in a coma, but was later recovered. Linda laid in a body harness for 2.5 years, where every bone from her nose to the tip of her toe was not broken, but shattered. Pieces of her convertible Porsche was still wedged in her tail, in her spine, near her tailbone, and doctors were feared to remove it and cause permanent she'd be permanently paralyzed if they took an attempt to remove it. So they decided to leave it in. Her chest rebuilt as Wolverine on the X-Men as a cage. Going through a metal detector at the airport is a nightmare for someone who has nothing but metal framing on her entire skeletal system. 12 botched surgeries later, and in a routine doctor visit, a doctor emptied an entire bottle of Buvocaine into her left artery and left her for dead while he locked the door behind her. He murdered her. Ooh. 2.5 days later, she awoke in. Yeah, 2.5 days later, she awoke in Rip Center Hospital, and, well, speaking Mandarin Chinese. I would call that a very near death.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She lost permanent hearing in her left ear. Short-time memory loss. And asked if there was anything that I could do. Hearing this call, I said, I'm probably the only person in the world you need to be speaking to at this moment. And I'll take this case on. They handed her a wheelchair and said, good luck. Within 90 days, using nothing more than an image off her cell phone pointed to a glass of water, she began drinking it. And within 90 days, she now can walk across the street to the grocery store and get food for her children.
Wow.
Her hearing is back. Her sight is back. Her memory has been restored. Doctors gave her no hope to ever walk again. Now, I put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I've taken all of the pollution out of combustion engines. I've changed and broke the laws of thermodynamics as we know it. Now, I'm not patting myself on the back. What I'm doing here is educating people to understand that this technology is here today. I am not a food, nor am I a drug. And the worst attorney in the world will tell you that is legal to send a text message to any phone in the world. FCC protects me for text therapy on the health sides because I'm primarily an environmentalist.
More than that. You're way more than that.
What we've created in the last 24 hours is going to change the game in so many ways, because now we have the ability to change the binary, the obsolete dinosaur. It could bury your company if you still use a barcode that can be easily counterfeited, and replace that with, ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
A holographic QR code that makes it secure. And we've also incorporated it with near field communication technology. Placing a business card on a table next to a cell phone and they start talking. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Now,
and I remember we were also
try to
talking
return-
that you put Humpty Humpty back together again. Well, that's something we got to work on for this Humpty Dumpty.
Here's what I'm going to have you do. And people are going to see your case of years and years and years to come. I'm going to supply you the address to send a fingernail and an air sample to our lab. What we then is we copy the signature of your DNA sequence, and I replicate that into a holographic format. I then am able to look at your DNA tissue, create the absolute frequency in what we call absolute magnetism that will deliver the information back to you in the form of a text message, or we call prescription. That picture you then point toward water and drink. When the water is digested, the hydrogen and the oxygen separated, the leftover parts we call intrinsic information. In quantum mechanics, information tells matter how to behave. That's all it is. It's an information pattern, and everything around it behaves according to that information. So now this recipe is formulated, which we call an adaptogen. The adaptogen is then carried by your body's stem cells to the part of the body at the end of your DNA called the telomere, and gives it a nice dose of information sequence, minerals, elements, and everything that's in your body to that specific place to take that sorry, C word you can never say, and render it inert, where it is then removed by the stem cell and delivered to the bladder to be discharged. Water in, water out therapy, with the correct DNA sequence matching biomimicry off your phone, off your safe phone. Let me emphasize that. Anybody out there who has technology similar that is beaming signals off of your YouTube, and you're hearing the 528 frequency and you think you're feeling healthy, great. Let me stop you right there. Unless you have a telephone that has a EMF field block, you're not exactly doing healthy things to your body any longer. So we took a look at that first. Once we identified the EMF block, we knew we were working in a safe environment. Last thing you want to do is go to work in surgery with a bunch of dirty tools. Well, we're going to give you a correct biomimicry frequency to that water. It tells your body how to run in ease. So you're no longer in dis-ease.
That's right.
Hey, Big Pharma. Good luck with that.
That's true. That's true. That's what they
We can
dream
now
of. They're
then-
trying to suppress this, actually. You are a big target for big pharma and big oil and all these other huge multi-billion, if not trillionaire companies, which, by the way, for all you folks who think Apple is the first trillion-dollar company, that's not true. It may be the first American trillion-dollar company, but years ago, I was always looking at what are the top 10 companies in the world, and something that has like 1,700 billion Well, what is that? 1.7 trillion. Literally, the top 10 are all Chinese companies.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Sure.
Is Mitsubishi there?
Let's find out. I don't think Mitsubishi is Chinese.
They're one of the biggest companies in the world.
Let's find
they
out
tempted
real quick.
me an $83 million buyout if I would go exclusively with Mitsubishi. And I declined that offer because I said, well, Mitsubishi doesn't build every car in the world, and this stops pollution for everybody. So I don't really want to just work with you. But I'll sell you the product. No, we must have exclusive. Well, you must go find somebody else to get your product from, because I can't help you. So yeah, it sucks to walk away from deals like that. But I want people to understand that's what I'm not a product. I'm a science. Holidium is a complete paradigm jump in all aspects of science that we know. It changes the game. Watch Marco Rodin's vortex-based mathematics video done at the Conscious Life Expo this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to get up to speed just to understand the math that it took to take this to reality. And I applaud Mr. Rodin and his art department. He is a stud among studs. He is he's one of the greatest artists of all time. And I'm proud to have him as my art department as well. And he works with some of the greatest scientists and mathematicians on the planet. So he's found a unique niche. So let me give you shout outs, brother. You're awesome. To take the QR code to a hologram with near field communications means we can change the game in the credit card business. Your credit card has a hologram, right?
It's true. It does. It does. And it's chipped now, which I really dislike.
Yeah. Well, a QR code can be scanned. Even if you don't have an internet signal, it's going to tell you the website, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So I'm in a third world country where they have no internet, and I want to use my smart device and credit card to buy these bongos. I don't know. So these bongo drums look pretty cool, and they need a $40 US price tag. And they won't take my credit card because they don't have internet service. Oh, wow. We're spoiled here in the United States. So we could do this wirelessly, instantaneously, globally, get off the World Wide Web and get onto the global geodesic grid. GGG.
So we won't be using www anymore, obviously. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Type in GGG, access the global geodesic grid, broadcasting off our server platforms off a ham radio signal. You don't need to pay your provider. So we got a lot of loopholes in the telecom and the monopoly industry, and we got to take things day by day, and we have to have the bird's eye vision of industry strategies. We can't stand on the ground and try to predict the future. We need to see out there into the distance. We know what's going on below us. We know how far we can see. We want to climb that ladder, see a little farther, and start there as our goal. If you read my bio, you saw that I was a reverse engineer specialist at the Center of Reverse Engineering.
I'm glad you mentioned this, Gary. Yes, like I said, your bio, and I've made sure I plugged in the link for everyone to check out earlier when you mentioned it. Is so full of things that when I was taking notes before I called you, one of the things I wanted to talk was reverse engineering, because, of course, you've heard me talk about Bob Lazar a lot, and reverse engineering, for those of you who think it only applies to Bob Lazar and ETs, No, think again, folks. This has been happening for at least a century, if not longer. I mean, the Enigma, captured by Polish intelligence, which was the Nazi code machine, was essentially reverse engineered by Turing. Yeah, Alan Turing. Yep, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. So reverse engineering has been happening for a long time.
Don't say the Poles are a bunch of the Polish jokes are bad because they saved the war. Come on, leave them alone.
They did, and they did say, they actually did say that 2 years of the war were saved because of Alan Turing's invention. Absolutely.
Yeah. No. I worked in exotic technologies and reverse engineered. So, over the last 30 years, I've seen what the most advanced stuff in the world has been brought through, and it was my job to pick it apart, design a manufacturing facility and schematics, turn over a binder to go into production. It was along that way when I was working with reverse engineering. You can't feel, at the end of the day, proud a lot of days on what you just did, because in a way you have taken someone's intel.
It's true.
Designed it better for someone else to profit and get paid to do that. Feeling kind of at a level of dirtiness where I'm not doing this anymore, I decided to create my own consulting business, and along that way I had a scientific breakthrough.
What was the breakthrough?
I put a sonic sound signal across a holographic field and flashed its image, captured its image, but needed it to be able to react in a way that would discharge energy. So I created an internal power source. Everyone out there says that cold fusion is impossible. I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. Here's how. I photographed a candle sitting in front of a mirror. Now, that candle in a mirror appears on a picture to be burning on the candle. Correct?
That's right.
If you touch the mirror, does it burn you?
Yeah.
No. You got a candle sitting in front of a mirror. You touch the mirror. Is
well,
the
I would
fire
think
hot?
that the heat from the candle, I would think so.
Well, not that close. No, not that close. From 10 feet away, you can still see it in the mirror.
Okay.
If you touch the mirror, is the fire hot?
No.
Thank you. I biomimicry extracted the frequency of fire reflecting in a two-dimensional field, and then harnessed that energy when replicated into its two-dimensional and three-dimensional hologram. Gave that hologram the energy of fire. Burning on glass, which is impossible, so it must burn forever without needing a power source. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are currently in our year 2019. It is our goal in the next 12 years to kill the Green Deal 12-year plan.
Yeah, the Green New Deal, yes, by AOC, which I think is kind of ludicrous what she's kind of trying to offer.
We shot that deal down in one day with everybody getting. President Trump could do a mandate on text messaging to stop pollution, and the next day, pollution's gone in the United States. Would that have a rippling effect worldwide?
Absolutely. People look at us all the time,
Every
whether to
country in
laugh
the
at
world.
us or to mimic us in some way. That's absolutely right. We are, whether for better or for worse, We are what people look at through the entire world, whether it be for fashion, like I said, whether it be for politics, for them to laugh at us, or whether it be the envy of the world. Regardless, whether we like it or not, we in the United States, no matter where you are in the world, are definitely looking in, on the outside looking in. That's a fact.
Well, we're looking at the rest of the world.
Oh, of course.
As they're looking at us.
Oh, of course. I know. We're looking at the UK. We're looking at North Korea. We're looking at China. We're looking at Russia. We're looking at New Zealand. We're looking at all of them. That's absolutely right. But they're all looking here. We're the one country that is more universally looked at than any other country.
Switzerland ain't a bad place to start looking.
Switzerland's a great place, actually.
No, but there's some kind of leading research scientists over there and such. But let me give you an example. It's called a photon genius frequency stand-up sauna. It's about a $26,000 item. You can have one in your home. You stand in front of 7 colored fluorescent light bulbs, broadcasting this, okay? And to show some amazing things. Well, great design. So what I did was took the exact same technology and turned it into a text message that we can send you for $100. So now you got a $25,000 machine that you point at a glass of water, drink, and you get the same effect as standing in front of this 8-foot machine for hours. And that's cutting edge technology that we just took. There's other competitors out there who, and I'll take this real quick to troll. If you want to talk bad about the man who's trying to solve the world's air supply, shame on you. That's really all I got to say about that.
We got a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask you one thing to cover before we go. Is on your site, one of the videos is that 500-foot tall building with the pyramid on top, the perpetual energy, which I asked you, was it like a windmill? And you told me, no, that's a power device that, remember, I was even seeing if there was a possibility to put this in my backyard, but then I couldn't because of the airspace and how close I am to an airport. But you mentioned it needs to go in a desert. So that idea was shot down. But mention that real quick, because I think it's really important for people to know that this is available.
Well, we went over that earlier with the hot air rising.
Yes.
Enjoy that video. It was done years ago with one of the top architects who taught at the Paris Architect University over in Paris. And when I sat down, I said, here's the idea in my head. Can you sketch this out for me? And so when I looked at it for the first time, I go, yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. What we're going to do with the Aqua Terratron runs on water. Terra means earth-like conditions, which converts heat into steam, up and down. Okay, and that's where we get our power. Tron. Now, here's the beauty of it. There are 4 sides to the Aqua Terratron. You're seeing the invisible screen view right there. So take the same building and put a 500-foot screen on the side, one on each side, which we can then broadcast a 3-dimensional billboard. How cool would it be to see that Ford truck flying around in a tornado, land on the ground in front of you, and then take back off up in the air, or a 500-foot Nike athlete running around the field in front of you with 40-foot shoes? We could project and create the world's coolest advertising billboard. If I put that in your little hometown, and it's twice the size of, it is the size of the Washington Monument. In Dyersville, Iowa, is where the Field of Dreams are. Build it and they will come. And if worse, it will become the most photographed billboard in the world that you can see online, because everybody wants to see the video of the 500-foot advertising screen in 3D. It's actually a power plant.
Which has always amazed me, because the fact that you have a pyramid on top, and real quick, I know this is the time that I should have you plug in a final statement and plug in your website, which we will go a couple minutes over. Do you think that the pyramids at Giza were in fact power plants?
Sure. If you got 8 sides of the Giza plateau, you have 8 sides on those pyramids on 4 sides. There are 8 sides on those pyramids. Okay? If you pour water at the top and water wheels as they go down like slinkies on each side, when the water gets to the bottom, it only takes the amount of energy of one side to pump that water back up to the top. You have 7 sides of over unity of water as gravity is rolling down the side.
Which really pyramid blows me away.
Now,
some of the shafts have no hieroglyphics. There's no gold. There's no coffin. So the only reason would be because something like water was flowing through there. So this fits exactly what is now. It's not being accepted in mainstream science yet, but at least the people like us who are always looking and saying, well, something's fishy with the mainstream science or archaeology about these pyramids, are starting to look at, hey, maybe these were not just fancy graveyards for pharaohs. Clearly not. Yeah, we had some other use than that. And I don't think that Homo sapiens were the ones who, in fact, created them.
Very good. That's for a future show, but that would be historic. What I'm looking in my world and what I like to really focus on is historic future. You see, the psychics out there can predict these. By the way, I got a wonderful prediction. We're going to have an earthquake on April 7th, and we're going to have one on May 6th. Okay?
Ooh, don't say that, because I live in Earthquake Town, L.A.
Yeah, well, no, but here's the difference. I'm not going to tell you where the earthquakes are. Oh. Because now if you look on the earthquake, every day in the world, yeah, there's like 2 major ones.
Well, let me tell you why this scares me, why you just said this, because
I'm not impressed.
Dr. Turi, he gave a couple dates, and one of them was April 7th, and he did say earthquake on one of those days.
Did he?
He did,
I did totally take that day out of my head, so thanks, Terry, for putting that one in me.
He did, yeah. He put April 7th.
I met Dr. Turi. I met Dr. Turi out at the, I think it was the Alchemy event. He had a Hummer, and I took pollution away in his
You did have a
Humvee.
Hummer, yeah. We were
one day.
He came out to hang out with me last Sunday. And
he's out of Arizona, isn't he?
He's out in Arizona. He was here for some filming.
I'm not ripping.
So yeah, he was.
I'm not ripping on Dr. I'm not ripping on Dr. Terry for predicting the earthquakes. But my point is that, you know, there's earthquakes somewhere. I'm going to predict that it's going to rain somewhere tomorrow. You see the point?
Yes. Be vague and it'll happen. Like astrology.
I'm not looking to predict the future. You see, it's much easier to write the future. And if you write it in quantum mechanics, then it materializes because information creates that reality. So we have the ability to program matter to do whatever we want it to do. Make things that are unhealthy now healthy. Make things that are bitter taste sweet. Make things that are unhealthy now healthy.
I've seen the sweet taste come out of something that was a little tangy yesterday. Now, Gary, we have gone over, so real quick, I wanted you to give a final statement to everybody, and then, of course, time for you to plug in your website and anything else that you think people should know and see and go to. And bye.
I've taken a absolute leave from Face Weapon. Sorry. But I do like MeWe. that's a competitor, and been very happy with the social platform over there.
Actually, can I suggest
So
Minds? Can I suggest Minds.com for everybody, because it pays you in cryptocurrency to use it, and it's very superior to Facebook, Face Weapon, as you mentioned, and it actually is kind of like an Instagram / YouTube, but really more of a Facebook than anything else, and it's open source, and it is not. They do not censor you, so it's very,
find
very
some great.
fantastic.
I also have Minds. Yes, I love Minds. Great.
Yes.
I haven't went there in a while, but I haven't been since MeWe's kicked in. I kind of love it. I've been thrown off a lot of social platforms.
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had many YouTube videos ripped down. So come to our website, Holidium Labs, HOLIDIUM, hologram in digital ingredients using the M-State Matter platform. Holidium. Labs.com, and review my work. I've for 15 years I've asked any scientists to debunk me, but after so many years, good luck with that. But we invite anybody to. I mean, if you need, there's the research. The explanation. You can find that on the absorption PowerPoint, our lab results, and all that. Just dig through. And share this video with someone who is an environmentalist, wants to be proactive in helping the communities and giving out the information that helps others. That's the seeds that we're laying here tonight that will trickle on and on. And I'd like to thank the person 2 years from now who just saw this video and gave me a call.
That's right.
Welcome
That's
to
right.
Holidium Labs.
Because this will remain on YouTube forever, unless, of course, they take us down, but I don't see that. If anything, they'll demonetize it, but hey, you're used to that, especially when I have topics like this, or people like Roger Stone and Jerome Corsi, who, by the way, Corsi will be back next week. Let me give you some guests who are guaranteed coming soon. Greer is going to be on April 9th. Next Thursday, I believe, is the 3rd or 4th. I don't know. I don't have a calendar in front of me. Is David Paulides. Now, if you recall, we were supposed to have Joe Montaldo last Thursday, which ended up being a sort of crazy monologue that I actually unlisted because I thought it was crap. But hey, I hope you all enjoyed it, because I was literally just going through the chat. Whatever you guys wanted to talk about, that's where we went. So anyhow, if that happens again, I'll be a little more prepared, because literally I was going to come on and just thank everybody and say, hey, we'll come back on. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we're going to shoot for Thursday to have Joe on, since Joe has been talking a lot about ETs for a long time. He was the person who discovered the Rh negative blood in abductees, which a lot of people are talking about these days. He has appeared in 3 consecutive seasons of Ancient Aliens, and he is the station owner of this UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans, Louisiana. Also want to thank JC of Deprogram Radio in the United Kingdom, iHeartMedia. We also have Adariki Studios, also known as Adam, good friend of mine and my original moderator. And plus, he does some cool stuff behind the scenes. Also, the newest moderator I want to thank is Pyramid 7, nominated by, of course, Adariki Studios. Also, I want to thank Josh Cheris, who is my assistant producer. He does a lot of hard work behind the scenes, which you find, folks, if you want any guest requests, please send them not directly to me, which is Dr. J Radio Live at Gmail, or Dr. J at drjradiolive.com, but send them to Dr. J Radio Live guests, plural, at gmail.com. That's DRJ Radio Live guests with an S at gmail.com. That is Josh Cheris' email, which he will make happen, especially if it's coming from one of you fine people, the listeners, because it's especially you fine folks that are in the chat day after day, evening after evening, that I give my top priority to. Those of you fine folks are the ones that when you request somebody, we're going to make the damnedest effort to make that person happen.
So thank you, Dr. J. And those that you had a chance to review some of this material, find it quite interesting and intriguing. If you're a company owner or would like to learn more and get involved either as an investment side of things or as a technical executive or marketing director for us as well, we train everybody live right here at Holidium Labs University. Till next time, this is Thunder at holidiumlabs.com. Hope you enjoyed our broadcast.